everybody, and welcome to another episode of the podcast, an unofficial IB podcast made by IB students for IB students and other people alike. And today, it has been
It's
4 days
2021.
into
First
2021.
month of January. Ooh, first month of 2021, Shin. Oh god, we've had like 2 weeks of Christmas break. And I feel like I still need 3 or 4 more.
And that is kinda what we're gonna get, but at the same time not, because apparently we're gonna have to go back to online learning for at least the rest of this month,
Yep.
which is not
Or at
ideal.
least due to the COVID resurgence in Thailand, things are not looking very bright on this end. Yeah.
Oh, good God, I hate it so much here.
No, that does bring up the topic though. You said you were going to do a lot more self-studying starting January or February, right? To prepare for the external exams coming up.
Yeah, I suppose that is true, and something that I
Might this
mentioned.
be like a better opportunity, I guess,
A
for
better
that, since you have
opportunity?
more.
I don't know. I feel like I honestly learn more in class than self-studying.
Right. But
I
you
feel
did
like
go.
in certain classes where we finish the syllabus, like in business classes, that's gonna be fine. But in some other
Yeah, you guys
classes
already
where,
done.
yeah, in business we're basically kind of done, except maybe like
Bro, I still have like
a
6 more
few case
topics to
studies.
go through in bio.
Well, see,
Oh, okay.
that's just science for you guys, but
Wow. Are you here just telling all the future IB students just don't take IB bio?
I mean, you're kind of convincing them already, aren't you?
Maybe. That's
Maybe.
probably it, yeah.
Anyhow, oh good God, I feel like we've discussed this before. The differences
have.
between online learning and in-class learning.
We did. It was in that
So,
field.
how do you feel about having to go back to online learning too?
Honestly, I'm quite disappointed, but at the same time, I can definitely look at the upsides, which is that I can work more on the few IAs that I've decided to do over again. That being my math IA. Yeah, just that.
No, I mean, honestly,
And I can definitely just look at like the positives of that. I have way more time to just start working on it.
I don't get it. I just don't, because like, can't you just simply work around the same amount at school, except that, okay, so the extra time would come from what, like traveling time, break times in school where
Your time to still
you would
have.
expect yourself to be working on break, but you get distracted by every single thing at school because of your friends.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you, senior lunch.
Thank you, Senior Lunch, for providing us with privileges that we do not deserve in this
We
trying times
really
where we need to
do not.
achieve grades.
Yeah. But I mean, that is certainly correct. But I don't. There's this lower level of stress where I can just sit down at my computer screen, go, yeah, I have time to do this today. I won't get completely worked over like the few quizzes that I have coming up, the tests that I have coming up. Like compared to if I would like at school, there's definitely like a better state of clearance of mind when you're working
Yeah,
when you're working at home.
I suppose that's true. At home, you do get less distractions, and I suppose for people who are better at self-studying or learning by themselves, because that is a thing that happens between people, with people, are going to be able to take advantage of this more often. And perhaps people who just do not favor the environment at school for, to home studying, as you said, can be distracting sometimes. But I do feel like the loss of access, of like at least easy access to teachers, and
Yeah.
ability to just like go up to them in class and talk to them quickly,
Right.
is something that's going to be missed a lot. And I think we've talked about this, about how we were talking about like going to like universities online, and we discussed like different advantages and disadvantages
Right.
in like some episodes prior. I think there was one that we recorded in some sort of storage room or
We
something.
did on the 5th floor.
Yeah.
We already talked over a lot of that, a lot of the positives, a lot of the negatives of online studying and going to school for actually learning there.
Yeah. So that's New Year's for us, eh? New Year's, new
That
news.
is New Year's.
But ironically, it's the same beginning as last year. We started last year with online learning. Now we're starting this year with online learning again. Hopefully, it's shorter this time. I really do.
Though they are setting a due date for shorter.
Yeah.
That also gets in the way of, well, the extracurriculars coming up at school too, correct?
Oh,
Or
good
at least with
God! And
CAS.
imagine trying to do CAS. I mean, now, I mean, I know like I've heard of like a few other countries where,
Hmm.
despite there being high cases, the self isolation is not that enforced. So therefore, people still go out and are able to do CAS activities
Really?
more no, more easily, but not necessarily more safely. More easily,
Oh, certainly.
as in there aren't as much restrictions.
Many restrictions? Yeah,
Whereas,
for them to be able to go out.
as from I heard from my parents, like for example, the place where I was learning how to drive actually closed down
Oh,
until later in like this month. And at least from what I heard from my parents, they kind of ban like between states travel or like provinces travel, so you can't travel between provinces. At least, at least that's what I've heard. I'm not sure when that ends, when that starts, but as you can see, the restrictions here are pretty strict. Also,
but I guess to detract a bit from the topic of IB, what about just the general student life experience? This is I guess our last semester in high school, and a lot of it, well, or at least from the news we've had, a month of it's going to be spent at home doing online learning, and some of the
mm-hmm.
events that have been planned might have, well, are being postponed or canceled
Yeah, yeah.
potentially.
I do feel like one of the trip that at least in our place have called like a senior trip. I have a
Senior
big
trip,
feeling that
yeah.
that's gonna be like canceled or something.
Either canceled or changed to another time.
Cancel or
Yeah,
change to another date, but I feel like
like
there's
a one
I feel like there's no good date, like a later
coming
date,
up. Correct,
like
correct.
like a later date from like February. It's not gonna be good. March is when March is like 2 months before the May
IB exam.
exams, 2 months
Right.
before the IB exams, and not only that, I feel like that's also when a lot of what I would say, when a lot of like the instead of studying becomes like more like revising, and you have to get ready
Correct. Correct. Correct.
to revise on the old content over again.
Hmm.
I have a
And
feeling many of these kind of like experiences that
so,
we were designated to have are going to be canceled, and that's gonna
oh, it is gonna kind of suck. Yeah.
yeah, you can say it that
Though
way.
there are quite a few people who've already been accepted to their universities, haven't they? Or at least over the summer break, over like the
Yeah,
summer,
I
when
mean,
the ones that they've turned in.
I suppose so. I suppose perhaps it's more like safety school, cause I mean, at least from what I've heard, like more of the popular or what do you call it, like highly competitive schools are likely gonna be waiting for like a lot of applicants, and then they're gonna have to make decisions based on applicant against other applicants also.
Hmm.
But I don't know too much about that, so who knows?
You're applying to a business school, though, correct? Or, oh no, no, I'm sorry. You're applying to uh, crap, I forgot the name.
Honestly, just say like data analyst, and I will be fine because
Data analyst.
me
Yeah.
going to actuarial science, it does get
Hmm.
irritating sometimes to have to tell people who don't know what the field
Well,
is
what actuary is
about
about?
what I do, about what I'm planning to go into, which is
Hmm.
about insurance, risk management, all those stuff. In which case, because the name doesn't tell exactly what the career path is, whereas if I say something like data analyst, where it is something similar though not identical, people are like, oh, you look at data and then you analyze them, simple to understand, simple degree, and then they just
Sure,
don't
sure.
ask me questions anymore. Which it's not like I don't want to answer them. It's just you do get a little tired after having to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
explain your major every single time you mention it.
What, do you think like every single IB class you're taking right now is gonna contribute to you doing well in actuarial science? at least.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna
definitely,
be
definitely.
really.
Perhaps maybe English on the lower side, but at the same time, who knows? Maybe the insurance field. We have you read out poetry every 5 seconds, but
Just test your brain.
yeah, test your brain. But I don't know. I do feel like all the other classes I've taken is contributing to the major I want to go in.
But
Although
and the extended essay too, correct? With
extended essay,
research
oh
projects and
yes,
all that.
my extended essay is just based on the actual field itself, or like one key factor slash aspects of it, which is very fun to do, though sometimes frustrating because it is quite a niche field. So sources you find regarding research about it are either some basic summary or like a 30-page long mathematics essay which contains math I just cannot comprehend, and I have to Google every 5 words they say because they say something very
Trust me.
convoluted.
The abstract is your friend. You just check the abstract, see if there's anything you want there, and then move on to the next one. If you don't, in
Oh
my
god.
opinion, that's how I worked with my own research. Do you have any good like ways for researching at least, or well, for editing your extended essay, making sure it's like top notch, like tight?
Not exactly. I just kind of read it again and see if it makes sense, and if it doesn't make sense, I'll be like, "What the heck did I do here?"
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember like sometimes I just like leave for a week and then I come back and read and I start to, and then I start to question my past self on whether or not my past self was sane or insane, because sometimes I read and then it's like, what is this?
You're doing.
It doesn't make sense. What are you
This
doing?
is not me. Me from a week ago was not me today. You have to tell yourself that. But I mean, I get you. Interestingly, a topic like the research topic of the extended essay, like what do you have any like process that you go through? Because we were talking about this briefly before, but it's actually something interesting to go over because I know people have like different methods of researching and gathering information to include in their essays. But do you have any like specified format that you go by, or
um, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't feel like there's a formula I go by in extended essays. Apart from, hey, so I'm gonna do this, and this is a topic, a concept I introduce. I explain it, and as I'm a math, I'm doing a math EE. I explain it. I do some math regarding it. That's gonna help me explain it, and then I do more math, and then I delete it because it was wrong, and then I do it again, and then I conclude it, I suppose.
but I mean for the ends of researching though, not the actual writing process.
You mean like
If you had to do
a formula for researching? Is that what you're asking me? I'm kind
Yeah,
of
just a
confused
formula,
about
like
that.
a kind of format for researching. Like you need to gather information from external sources to compile your extended essay.
Yeah.
And like I know people do it in different ways. Like a ton of people just find a bunch of sources like from the titles, click on it, and go over and read it over again. And other people just like give like an intense look over each source and make sure that it has like the exact information that they want.
No, well,
But I don't
at least for me, any sources that is like over 10 pages long, no matter how good it might be, I just kind of scrap it out for the time being.
know. Do you read the whole like research paper that you're going through
I
though?
don't know, no, I don't read this whole research paper, man. The control F or command F function is there for a
Oh,
reason.
find function.
I mean,
I guess. No, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
feel like I got lucky because I found like a good couple websites that's like really dedicated to like
Topic.
to the topic, and I feel like it being a niche topic kind of plays into it also because the topic is niche. Therefore, there are not many diverse sources with like conflicting arguments going on. I mean, you can have one person say like, oh, the plant cell has a cell wall, and then the other person say like, oh, the
Oh,
the plant cell does not have a cell wall, and then you ended up having to choose between the two. But when you have lesser options, you have lesser conflicts. You have the good and the
right.
bad mixing together.
Well, your information isn't as well rounded as it can be, can it?
Well
Like,
rounded. What do you
listen,
mean by
some
well
people
rounded?
guess with more people, with more sources on it, if something is truly accurate, then they're all going to get the same results. However, if you get a ton of sources too, you can get people providing like a counter argument to the claims that you're making in your extended essay. It provides a more well-rounded depiction of what you're actually trying to capture. No
Yeah, but in my experience, I'm not really making like a
evaluation of
huh, huh,
some sort of
what
topic.
could you say, like some sort of like argumentative claim. I'm just getting a table, and then these people, like different sources, are like, oh, this table has this property and that table has that property, and now I'm going to graph it out in order to indicate these differences using models and functions and all those stuff. And
Okay, okay, I see. Yeah, it is different depending on the essay. I guess mine is way more argumentative than yours. So I do need to find like a whole breadth of sources that talk about whether or not this technique is good, whether or not this technique is bad, and compile it into an argument for me to put in at the end.
keep
So
in
yeah,
mind,
I
I
get
have no idea what you're writing about, so I can half
it.
understand what you're saying.
Well, let me bring you my own perspective on research at least. Do you How much would you say you spent doing your research for the extended essay? Like, do you feel like you have a complete grasp of the entire topic that you've researched?
Yeah, I feel like if someone asked me what my extended essay was about, and let's say, like, for example, asked me to explain this table, I can confidently explain the differences.
Okay. So for me at least, I take it, I guess, similarly to what you're saying right now. I'm trying to become an expert on the topic before I try to write on it, right? So instead of getting the sources and trying to just pick out specific information, which I do, like later on when I'm actually writing the essay. At first, I spend at least a week, I guess, not a week of, not an entire week of time, but just a week, like an hour every night, going through and reading different sources, making sure that I know what this field of topic that I'm trying to write about is about, because it's a completely different dive for me, for my topic into dementia and how music therapy might be a treatment for it. It's something I've never really researched before, so I need to spend a whole week becoming like attuned with what it is I was writing about, and after that one week, I spent the other just researching and finding the proper sources. And maybe it was the sources that I was reading over too, which contributed to that. And I definitely knew which sources would be good to include and which wouldn't. So I don't know. I just wanted to provide that there to see like anybody else uses a similar kind of strategy or a different one when going into their research process. Mm, but for you, you say it's more like just a hard in. Well, did you know more? Did you know a lot about your topic before going into the research?
Um, let's see. I took an online class on it, so I'd say I know some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you already felt confident to start like the research for it
Or
before going in.
at
So,
least, at
oh
least,
yeah,
at least
it
I
was
felt confident that I would have quite a lot of fun and interest doing it, because at least for me, I have like a very concrete grasp on my career path, and that is of course reflected in my personal statement where I go into discussions about micromanaging.
oh personal statement. Oh, college apps, right?
Yeah, college apps.
You're already done with yours, are you?
I turned mine in like 2 months ago,
Yeah, you're
or like a
definitely
month
done.
ago. Yeah, but yeah, I feel like honestly confidence in being interested in your topic is gonna do a lot of good for you when you're trying to write these kind of long, high time
Sure,
commitment essay.
sure. Though sometimes that isn't possible, is it? Or I guess like for the IAs, when you're taking, I mean, like a topic like math, like a lot of people don't quite enjoy math. Yeah, like a lot of people don't have the luxury to say that they enjoy doing math,
Yeah, I don't know.
but
I don't
you still have to write a math IA regardless.
I don't get those people sometimes, but
Thank you, Shin. We needed this input. Okay, bro.
That's just banter, by the way, for you listeners. Please don't be shamed into not liking math. You can like what You can like whatever you want. If you like IB art, I'm not gonna judge you. But
But yeah, you need to write an IA 20-page essay, do some research on it, write a
who
lot about it for
who
your
who
math.
who
Hmm?
says it's 20 pages? I just
Well, less 10 to 20 pages. Yeah, around that. Still quite the extensive range. Do you think?
is it like a word count? It's kind of odd to me that sometimes people discuss about like
I thought it was a page count, wasn't it, for math? Like it was a word count for the psychology and science IAs, but not for math. Was it?
yeah. So if it's a page count, wouldn't it be kind of like an unfair
Because you can just make
thing?
your font size like 6.
Like font size is like standardized. Wouldn't it be unfair to perhaps maybe people who are doing IAs on topic that are more like graphic based, like someone doing graphing is gonna use up
Yeah, yeah.
more picture space, and someone doing something like I don't want to say calculus, but that's also sometimes graphing. But compared to trying to think of something, I don't know. But some topics that like let's say like financial or something. I don't know, like using like
Yeah,
exponential
yeah.
functions without
You only
graphing.
really need functions. You don't need any graphs or that. They're gonna
Yeah,
have way more space.
yeah, but let's say someone's like doing like graph theory. The entire topic is graph.
Your entire every page you put in has a graph in it.
I wonder who's doing that topic. Oh wait, it's me.
Dude, I saw that graph you made. I don't know what kind of like portal you're trying to open into another dimension,
Yeah.
but I want nothing to do with
Yeah.
it.
I feel like even a spider couldn't make that kind of graph that I conjured in some
I
like
can't tell if you're like trying to brag about making this graph or like you're just completely disappointed and
I'm
like this
just
mistake of a creation.
as long as people are confused by it, looking at it and asking me what have I created, then my goal has been succeeded.
Oh, how wonderful.
Oh, wonderful. Indeed. Ugh.
You got anything else you want to talk about?
I mean,
I mean, a lot of the topics that we can talk about right now are already things we kind of, well, went over.
well, but it's fine. It's fine. Let's we can always diverge a little bit off. How about it's New Year. It's 2021.
Oh, dude, it's New Year's. It's
You
2021.
got any New Year's resolution, or are you gonna complain about how New Year's resolutions are dumb, like people on
No,
Twitter?
no, no. I'm going to get better at cooking over the New Year's. Well,
See,
not over the New Year's, but over the summer break. Once I'm done with IB, once that's all settled with, I'll try to become a
uh
more
huh.
independent person so that I
Yeah,
can like not burn down my entire dorm when I'm in
yeah. I
Australia.
think like a good step to start cooking is to eat more variety. So if you can start eating your vegetable, then
Thank you,
and
thank you,
fruits, then
thank you.
that could be good for you.
I just don't eat the latter. Thank you very much. I
Yeah.
do eat the former.
Why do you not eat fruits? I actually don't get why you not eat
I
fruits.
don't know. It's you want to go into like the proper discussion about this? It might be something to do with like my upbringing or like my shit. I don't want to say the word genetics, but my siblings, like both of them, they also despise fruits. They smell fruits in the room. They're just no, and they try to leave immediately. I have like the same instinctual like reaction too. I don't really get it either because when I was young, my mother did feed me a lot of like my mother fed me a ton of like oranges and bananas. So I guess that like that's just dulled.
I really want to do that experiment that they do to people, where they have like the people be like blindfolded and they have their nose closed, and then they just like you feed them like a random thing, and they'd be like,
Feed them
oh,
a random thing.
hey, is this mashed potatoes or is this banana? Although those are very much different.
If I throw up, you know which one it is.
But you can go like, hey, is this I honestly cannot think of something as similar to fruits, but you get my point. You get my point. Force feed
um,
you until you like it.
well, like okay, next time I go to one of your houses or like next time we meet up somewhere, like I'd be up to show you like my natural biological
It's
reaction to
so
eating fruit.
ironic, cause you like you don't like fruits, but how are you so insanely addicted to strawberry milk?
Strawberry milk is not a fruit. Strawberry milk is just the condensed sugar made like turned pink. There is no strawberry in strawberry milk, or at least the one I've been drinking for like Meiji. At least
Wait, so
it's just
like,
like really, really
so
sweet
like,
milk.
you don't like the smell, right? So
Hmm? No, I don't like.
what if you just close your nose and can you eat it, or is it because you see it, you just perceive the smell in your head or something?
I think it's a combination of just about all my senses. Like, okay, um, first of all, it's like the biting into it is also a weird experience too, because it's kind of like, how do I describe it? It's not like eating meat, and it's not like eating rice, and it's not like eating grains or vegetables or like anything else. Like fruits are, there's like that kind of explosion with the first bite, right? I think, I don't know. I'm definitely not the expert on
Okay,
this.
calm down, calm down. Okay, this is not like the scene in Ratatouille where Remy eats the strawberries and then his mind starts
Sure.
exploding.
But I'm just saying, like, if you want to see me like show my biological reaction to it, like the next time we meet up somewhere, like I'll eat a watermelon, like I'll just show you what happens to me afterwards.
Gosh,
Okay.
I should have wrote my E on this. Done it, done it, done it like an experiment on you on like biological stuff about sense of taste and smell and
Things like my well, I know this isn't related to fruits at all, but my fiber, well, not my fiber, but my, oh no, this is a disgusting topic to bring up. Never mind. Let's take this another time.
oh good god, I don't even know exactly what
Sorry
fiber
about
is. I don't even know what fibers are. I'm not a bio student.
that. What about you? Like you've been struggling with video with one game
Oh
over.
god, that's not gonna play into any of my resolutions or New Year
You don't have a
resolutions.
resolution. Uninstall this game that you've been trying to beat.
Oh good god, let's not go into that. I'm gonna go on a rant that I can't go on the stop about. But anyhow,
You got anything else you want to say?
yeah, you know what? I have to say that this has been a fine episode. It feels kind of weird though. This episode feels
I
like
mean,
someone like there's like a third person here or something. I don't know, cause this feels
yeah,
like a
yeah, kind
conversation
of
where you
strange.
know,
I
you
feel
know,
a bit more restrained. Like it's a bit awkward,
yeah.
but who knows?
But who knows?
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyhow,
Yeah,
that's
I
gonna
think my Discord is glitching out.
that's gonna be it for this episode. We hope you guys have enjoyed. Big thank you for our 3 viewers, even though one of them is me going into my own videos and copying the description. If you have enjoyed, please share this with other people, cause
Yeah,
this is more entertaining than formal, and I think it's fun. I want people to have a laugh
for sure.
at this man's life for not eating fruits. He's missing out on a lot. Okay,
Thank you.
anyhow, thank you
Thank you.
everyone and goodbye.